if I could tell you the story in reverse, I might come out of it looking, well, okay, if not good. But where would the fun be? Now, let's go for the truth. Okay, I have been writing on Macs for decades, and I've been talking about them for about as long. And yet, yeah, in the last 2 weeks, I lost a lot of documents of my Mac, all through my own fault. Although I'm looking at you now, right? You don't back up safety copies of your writing either, do you? Despite everyone telling you to, you don't. You haven't got around to it. Well, let's try to make my pain worthwhile and persuade you to back up your writing, back up your documents before you lose them too. So what I want to do is to show you both ways that I lost them, and I might whine a bit along the way, but also showing you how I lost it all means I can then show you the two very different ways that I got it all back, or most of it all back, I think. And I suppose actually I can show myself that I am not doing enough backing up or making safe copies of my writing or any other work either. Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which as ever, as always, is for writers. Writers like you and me who use and who write and apparently lose documents on Macs, iPhones and iPads. I say that's the Wednesday edition. The Monday videos, they're for all writers, even pen and paper ones. There's freaks. And Fridays are the YouTube member exclusives about scripts and screenplays. Very focused, that one. Do subscribe or like, because, well, we do have so much to talk about. Even if now I'm just kind of talking as long as I can to postpone the moment I have to tell you the stupid things I've been doing. All right, okay. Two of them in the same 2 weeks. You would think I'd learn, but first the simplest, as in easiest to do, lost the least amount of data, but actually also the easiest to get back. I definitely lost the script and some video for a particular 58 Keys episode. It's possible I lost some more actually, but I know it was 5 documents, 5 files, something like that. Just to tantalize you, if you're thinking 5 documents, rewrite that in an hour. The other loss was 8 terabytes. I have a Mac Studio behind me. 8 terabytes is 4 times more the documents than that Mac Studio can hold. But back to the first problem. No, I should give you one of those blue wipey things. I need a moment. Previously on 58 Keys, I enthused at you about Hazel, link in the description below. Hazel being the Mac utility that watches any folder you like, then does whatever you tell it to whatever's in that folder. A simple example very quickly, I create a lot of one-time use images and I will save them to a folder I've called the image drop bucket, and every day Hazel just kind of automatically gets rid of them, deletes any image that's more than a day old. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to think about it. I don't really even have to know that it's going on. I just don't find my storage space being mysteriously full just because I haven't got around to clearing out old unused images. Fine. Actually, in fact, great. And nothing I'm going to say here is in any way a criticism about Hazel, which I relish. It's unfortunately all a criticism about me, because those images, right, they do mount up. Okay, I do need to get rid of them. The thing is, each one's pretty small. Is it just one JPEG or one PNG image? No. What's substantially bigger are the video files that I create for this 58 Keys channel. An episode could be 6 to 10 gigabytes. When it's done, I make 2 versions as well. One of them is for Patreon members, but honestly, blink and you'd completely miss what the difference is between the two. You're not missing anything there. And that blue wipey thing you saw, and the caption at the bottom prompting you to subscribe, all of that. Any screen recording, I show you where to click something, how to do something in an app, like Hazel, in fact. Well, all of that adds up. In fact, actually, let's check. This is the 58 Keys folder for that Hazel examples episode, and it has 27 items. They total 5.5 gigabytes, something like that, and that does not include the 2 finished versions of the videos because they're over here. So a total of a total of lots of gigabytes. But of course, when you see the episode on YouTube, it's finished. None of those 27 files are needed, and actually neither are the 2 final video versions. I do want to archive off the final version of the videos, and I haven't quite decided how and where to do that yet, but for certain, right, you can see it. I can delete those 27 and forget about them. So that's what I did. I told Hazel, watch my 58 keys folder, and you're already seeing where this is going. Yeah, you can see it in your eyes. Hazel, watch this folder, and just like with the images one, delete anything that's old. Now, rather than just a day old, I said, go on then. Leave it all there for 2 months. Okay, you never know. Might want to, fine. Set up that Hazel rule, let it run, couldn't see any problems, popped out of my office. Several days later, I come back in, I come back into a tidy 58 keys folder, and I'm rather pleased with myself about that. Everything that was in there that was older than 2 months is gone. And then I'm actually a bit late working on that week's episode, and when I go to restart it, nothing's there. I mean, I still had lots to do and things, but the script was gone. The screen recordings already made, gone. And the reason is, when something happens that I think might be of use or interest to you, I at least make some notes. I at least screen record these. I mean, for example, the Mac Studio. I mentioned when I bought that Mac Studio 2 months ago now or something, I filmed setting it up, for instance, because at some point I do want to do an episode about setting up a Mac, and there are various problems where you can say, yeah, it could be useful. And there I was doing it, so of course I filmed it and just left it there. But then it could be months before I actually make the final episode based on those notes or clips. So for example, might for instance be more than 2 months. Everything I'd written for that week's episode, everything I'd screen recorded, everything I'd already prepared, and it wasn't a lot, but there was stuff there that was gone, and it was solely my fault. I should say, to just build up the tension here, I'd already announced what that 58 Keys episode would be about. This is another Patreon thing. I'd said on the 58 Keys Patreon podcast that the week would be this video, so I was kind of committed there, really. Also quite pale that time. And now, I'm ready to show you the solution. Thank God we got to the solution. If you're a Mac, iPhone or iPad user, you have iCloud. If nothing else, it means the calendar on your iPhone matches the one on your Mac, but you can also store documents in there, and I do this a lot, and you do it so that the one document is available on all of your devices. Yeah, okay. And actually on any of your devices, you can open a browser and go to iCloud.com and sign in, and there you can see, well, actually I think it's quite remarkable what's there for this site. Nobody goes to it. It's amazing. There are full versions of pages, numbers, all of your calendar stuff, and so much more. I once used the Keynote spreadsheet on a PC through iCloud.com. But anyway, just down here, way below, there's data recovery. And from here, you can restore deleted files, deleted bookmarks, possibly only from Safari, I realise I don't know, and contacts and calendars and things. As long as whatever it was you deleted was deleted in the last 30 days, it will be here. It is extraordinarily slow. You can speed it up a fraction, or at least maybe kid yourself that you're speeding it up a fraction, by clicking on that restore file. So the other three, the calendars and bookmarks, like whatever they go out the way, you get this pop-up screen, and as if because it knows you're anxious about getting your files back, it doesn't half build up the tension. The time varies on how much you've deleted, of course, I mean deliberately deleted or not, but just for one example, right there, when I clicked on restore files, from the moment I clicked on restore files to the moment it showed me a list of files it could recover for me, it took just a hair over 12 minutes. And then this is what you get, a list of all the files, initially sorted by the date they were deleted. So notice that red 3 days remaining. If it were the Writing and Education Conference special file that I wanted, I was within 3 days of being very out of luck. For now, you scroll through this list and you quickly realise this is pretty slow as well. You can change the list. You can change it from date deleted to size. But so far as I've been able to find, it will show you, the size one will show you from the smallest to the largest. I couldn't get to show me the other way, and I knew the stuff I wanted was at least one file was a couple of gigabytes. It was a screen recording, so man, I was going to scroll all the way to the end. Or you can sort by name, and actually give me some credit here. That's a case where my being rigidly careful in how I label files helped. Anything to do with 58 keys is prefixed with the episode number, followed by a short label like stills for images, SR for screen recordings, whatever. So I couldn't remember the episode number necessarily, and this only matters to me anyway, and I only do it because it makes video editing quicker. But scrolling through the list, I could find 58 keys, number, SR, and I knew that was at least probably the one I wanted. So labeling it this way, let me find the documents that I had accidentally deleted. Having done that, you tick to select what you want, click this restore button, and the files are undeleted. They are unerased. In fact, they're put back on your Mac wherever they were before. Not very quickly, but they are there. You've got them back. So go have a mug of tea, and when you're done, the files will be there again, and you can wipe your brow the lot. One thing, you notice on that screen that line saying, starting with iOS 11 and macOS High Sierra, there's this thing called recently deleted folders. Okay, if you delete a photo or video on an iPhone, right, well then it automatically goes into a folder there called recently deleted. You've still got this 30 days parole, but then it's up to you. You can just drag the files back out, none of this schlepping onto iCloud.com. I know that's the case with the iPhone. I've done it. I presume what this means is that it's the same with the Photos app on the Mac, but none of the 58 keys videos or images go into there. So this recently deleted option, it's very nice, I'm sure, but it didn't exist for my files. If you've used Macs for any length of time, well, go on then. You may well be thinking now that Time Machine would have solved this for you, William, and solved it immediately, solved it pretty quickly. Yes. If you plug an external hard drive into your Mac, well then the Mac, the first thing it will do is offer to make it a Time Machine backup. You say yes, and then all day, every day, documents are backed up to it over and over, constantly, safely copied away. And then getting back, well, it's not lightning fast, but it's a lot faster than going through iCloud.com. I don't use Time Machine. Wait, no, let me change that. I didn't use Time Machine. Okay, yeah, lesson learned here. The thing is, it ties up a port on your Mac. You've got to plug the drive in and leave it there. It ties up an external drive, for that matter. And I am now planning to use it. I did also think that I didn't have to, because I do use an online backup service. I use Backblaze, and there's a link to it in the description. There is a possibility that if I've done the right link, that I might even get some cash from them if you happen to go this route, but I'm not sure. In case you do, thank you. Anyway, what Backblaze has been doing for me for over 10 years is just copying up everything on my Mac and on my external drives all day, every day. The first time I signed up for the service, I remember it quite literally took months for the first upload of all of my documents and video and audio to be done. There was that much data. My internet was that slow. I seem to remember celebrating when it was all done. Can't remember how. There might have been a party, because then after that, once the first set was all up there, anything new was just constantly backed up, and anything was changed, and I knew it was there. Great. And like I say, it backed up the Mac and any external drive. As long as that drive is always plugged in, Backblaze treats it as part of your Mac and uploads the lot. So you can't keep swapping in and out drives to cheat it, but you can do one. This is an external drive, like you needed to know what they look like. It's a 10 terabyte drive, and it contains ripped copies of most of my DVDs. Or it did. I used to use this with Plex. There's a 58 Keys episode about Plex, but short version, you have videos on your Mac or on an external drive, and you have the Plex app on your Mac. When all of this is up and running in the right sequence, well, you can watch the video. I mean, you can watch videos obviously right here on your Mac, but also streamed to your Apple TV, 4K, possibly other devices as well. In the living room, watch TV and see all this. I've been on holiday actually and watched things on my iPhone, streamed from the drive to Plex to my phone. Actually, also when I was caring for my mother, her smart TV included Plex, so I could sit in her living room watching old films and TV from this Mac in my office. Until I changed Macs. I said I bought a Mac Studio. Well, in everything around on my desk, I somehow dropped this. Dropped it or knocked it, not sure. Killed it. And can we take another moment to lament the loss of thousands of hours of TV and film? Like I say, Backblaze backs up everything. So you can do this. You can get things back in a very similar way to iCloud. You can go to backblaze.com and pretty slowly tick your way through the drives and you back up there and find the latest backup of your files. There was one time somewhere in the last 10 years or so when I needed to recover one single document, and it was so quick, it was so simple. One document is not the same as 8 terabytes of video. I think it was 8. It's 10 terabyte drive and it was nearly full. I could do the same thing. I could still select the files and have them downloaded back to my Mac. In fact, I bought a new external drive to replace that broken one and explicitly to do it. But even though my internet connection in 2025 is just gigantically faster than it was a decade ago, it was still looking like it was going to take a month, 2 months of constant downloading, which you can do. Okay, but Backblaze offers an alternative. Instead of all of the waiting and downloading, you can just buy a hard drive from Backblaze and they will ship it to you with all of your data on it for you. And very nicely, actually, if you then copy off all your data, well, you can return the drive and they will refund the money you spent. It doesn't work very well here for me in the UK. I mean, the drive stuff to return it does, but because obviously the company's not going to refund shipping costs they spent or UK import fees that I have to pay. They'll just refund the cost of the drive, which is great. But the cost of the drive turned out to be pretty much what it would cost me to just buy a blank drive here in the UK anyway. So I did this. I ordered the drive from Backblaze, and much quicker than I expected, the drive was here. It's plugged in behind me. All of which is brilliant, all of which is also a relief. Okay, all of which means everything is back, and all of which is a reason I do thoroughly recommend Backblaze. Except, so I found out that I had broken this old drive of mine when my Mac Studio refused to even see that it existed. I plugged in the new Backblaze drive, and my Mac Studio refused to even see that it existed. I went into such loops about this. I mean, was the drive formatted for PCs instead of Macs? Well, shouldn't have mattered, actually. Was my Mac Studio broken? That was a scary thought. But I had already bought a blank replacement drive here in the UK before I realised this about Backblaze, and fortunately the Mac recognised that, so the Mac Studio is okay. Over about 10 days, I spent hours working on this. I mean, look at the state of my desk during all of this. Eventually, and you can well argue that I should have done this earlier, William, I went back through the whole backblaze.com backup option. I was doing it looking for, were there some settings, were there some choices that I had somehow done wrong or something, and that's when I found out this. The drive that Backblaze ships to you is locked. Sufficiently locked that Macs, and I presume PCs, actually now just a little bit, will not even see that it exists. To get it to work, you have to download an app from Backblaze itself, from the Backblaze site. Okay, if you know about it, you've got to run that. And then you have to enter a code, a unique code provided for you during the backup thing. And they could have told me any of this. But in digging through and finding the app and finding the code and downloading both and using them too, I now have access to my whole Plex library. Or I will when I first finish copying everything from that Backblaze drive over to my new blank drive replacement one. So I will have 2 drives with the same thing on it, and I intend to have them both holding all of this data in case it goes wrong again. 2 data losses, both alike in dignity, and both ending happily, probably. With that first one, okay, I know I got back the files I needed to make that week's 58 Keys episode. I don't know for certain that I hadn't also deleted other episodes that were started off in some way and that I hadn't got round to the next stage, fleshing it out, completing it. But I have also switched off that Hazel rule while I try to think about this. There are so many ways in Hazel to prevent problems like this. So seriously, I wish it weren't true, but all on me. And I am now trying to think of ways to make sure that I do archive off old videos, and actually I think now old copies of scripts, and I do save some space, but I don't lose anything important. I'll get there. It seems to me like I've talked to you for several days now, and I know I could have just said, back up your documents, but you haven't, have you? I was right. about that. So how about this? Let's, you and I, treat this not as a kind of do as I say, not as I do thing, but instead as a kind of both of us pull our fingers out and make safe copies of our writing, or else okay. That's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Do you remember the 58 Keys writing workshop videos? They come out every Monday. And there's also the YouTube membership exclusive script club, which goes out on Fridays. But for now, for this, thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. Write more. Back up. Did I mention that's important? And I'll see you soon.